This isn't Nom, this is bowling. There are rules. Welcome in to the Bro 4 Squad podcast, where we are just a bunch of bros drinking beer and talking movies. This is episode 157, and I am your host, the Mayor Jeff Hornacek. Thank you guys so much for checking us out for the movie discussion. And before we get started, we have to go around and meet the fellow bros. We start with the American hero, Nate Thurmond. Nate, convince me not to drink this whole whiskey before the halfway point of the show.
Normally, I would not try and get anyone not to drink. There are sober people all across the world without alcohol, so we need to drink up when we can. But in the effort to make sure you enjoy the whole pod, I would kind of drag it out a little bit, just so you're not jonesing halfway through.
Savor it. Right?
Yeah, savor it a little bit.
That is good, though. We should think of all the poor sober people out there. There's someone in bumfuck Iowa that doesn't have some 15-year-old listening to us that wishes they could have stolen a beer from their dad's fridge.
Drink up for them.
And next we go to our enforcer in the paint, Matt Geiger. Geiger, if you were allowed to compete in the game of quote-unquote basketball that's played at the end of Space Jam: A New Legacy, do you think as a true enforcer you could find a way to foul out? Because as we always say when it comes to fouls, to quote scripture, you can't take them home with you.
Even in Looney Tune land, I think I'd find a way to foul out. I'm sure Warner Brothers would not have my foul out. You'd probably have to get the director's cut to actually see that, which would make sense in the fucking movie. But I would foul out for sure.
Would you... who was the ref in the new one? Because it wasn't Marvin the Martian, right? I already can't remember.
That was the little floating robot guy.
Oh,
can't remember his name.
It's like AI. Marvin the Martian in the original Space Jam, I actually thought did a pretty good job of, tightening things
down the middle. Even though he kind of had some skins in the game,
I remember on our commentary of the original one, we realized how genius it was. We were like, he's actually both an alien like the Monstars, but also a Looney Tune. So he really is the best person to officiate this game.
Oh, yeah.
Unbiased, right down the middle.
That's what you hope for. Not a Tim Donaghy situation.
Ooh. I actually just got done listening. Sorry to interject, but got done listening to the podcast that was about that.
Pardon my take. The one he did an interview on there.
No, it was like a whole series.
I just bought his book. It's called Personal Foul. I'm excited to read it.
Dang it, no, I can't remember the name. Oh well, good talk, Nate.
Here's the type of reading I do. I just bought Juiced by Jose Canseco, which Matt inspired.
Never read Juiced. It's a really good book, actually.
And actually, he did not to totally derail us, he did a follow-up book. I guess he was broke again a few years later that I bought, if you want to borrow it at some point. He's like, by the way, there was some...
Come on, pod. We just have to pay him like $300 and he'd come on.
We can do that.
That's like about what we make every couple months,
Yeah.
We can make that happen.
All right, well, if you have not listened to our show before, we begin every episode with the most important thing in any bro's life, and that is our Chest Day segment. And today we're kind of doing our little past halfway through the year grades for 2021 in terms of movies and TV. So it's basically the start of the second half of 2021, give or take a few weeks, and time to check the score and see how the year's doing. Theaters have reopened, which is awesome, and streaming has given us some great gems so far, both limited series and movies. So we're each going to give you 3 categories of our report card so far. We're going to tell you our favorite movie or TV show of the year. We want to leave it open to television because there's a lot of good TV we've been watching. Then we're going to give you our least favorite movie or TV show of the year. And then, my favorite part, there's a third category that we're each just going to make up that the other bros don't know what it is for something that we've watched in 2021. Could be good, bad, could be... Banner's not on the show, so it probably won't get too weird.
Let's kind of not. We'll see.
All right, so let's start off with our positive. Our favorite movie or TV show or series so far this year. Geiger, we'll throw it in the paint to you first. What has been your favorite thing you've watched up to this point?
Honestly, Black Widow.
Wow.
And I don't know if you guys have read this, and I don't even know if this fucking matters anymore, but Space Jam 2's beating it pretty bad in the box office. And once again, I don't know if that matters anymore because I haven't seen the streaming numbers, one being on HBO Max, one being on Disney Plus. and I'm not sure who has more subscribers, but Black Widow, fucking great. Actually liked it better than Wonder Woman, that I would probably give 5 out of 5 to, which we probably did way back in the day.
If you would have told me
And-
before the year you would have said that, I would have said hell freeze over first.
And also,
Yeah.
too, going into Wonder Woman, I was very excited. Going into this movie, I'm a little marveled out. I'm like, why even see this? Who cares? And then halfway through, I'm like, man, this is really fucking good. And then at the end, I'm like, damn, that's a fantastic movie. And then also, I love that at the very beginning, everyone's like, oh, you gotta have, one-off stories, and you got to tell your characters before you do an Avengers movie. That's where DC fucked up. Well, apparently not, because Black Widow has been in, Jeff could probably tell you, there's probably 8 fucking movies. Has never got her own movie, and now she finally did, and it is very, very well done. The characters, the acting, the writing, the tone of it, and once again, Marvel have jokes, mainly the Red Guardian, but it's not out of place. It doesn't feel like a timer's going off in a DC movie, like we need a joke right now.
Yeah.
It is very well done, and I recommend seeing it in theaters for sure.
Yes.
Now, when you're saying Wonder Woman, are you talking about Wonder Woman or Wonder Woman 1984?
Well, I waste time. I know it's terrible. I'm
Okay.
talking about the original Wonder Woman. I think is better than the original Wonder Woman.
Just had to clarify.
Yeah, Nate and I
Yeah.
were not fans of Wonder Woman before. I think we're fighting alone on that hill. I'll
Yeah.
talk about it a little bit more in Protein Shake, but I agree. I very much liked Black Widow, and I'll be honest, she's a character that I've liked Scarlett Johansson's portrayal of her in all the Avengers movies and the Iron Man films and Civil War, but I was never that interested in her solo film. I was like, really, what's this going to be? And I actually really liked what they did with the story. And there's a couple scene-stealing characters in it as well, which I think Marvel does really well.
Really ties in human trafficking, which I think is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Not really, but you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what the Scarlet Witches kind of are. So
Yeah.
it ties into modern day.
Yeah, I think they do a
Let's
good
say,
job
I
of
guess.
making it relevant. Okay, this is a threat that could actually be real, but I never really felt like I was being beaten over the head with some message. Not that would necessarily be a bad message to put out there, but nowadays we'll get into it when we talk about Space Jam. I feel like a lot of movies have ulterior motives. Like, you get me in the theater and they're like, okay, but also this.
Mhm.
Sort of like AMC tells you to buy a fucking Coke 7 times before the movie starts in theaters. It's like, I know Coke exists. If I wanted one, I would have bought it already.
Cherry Coke at the movie theater does sound nice, though.
Fuck. I actually kind of want one of those right now. All right, good shit there, Matt. Nate, what is your favorite movie or TV series or show so far in 2021?
So I have a couple here. We're just going one or the other.
No, you do whatever you want.
Okay, good. Fuck it, I will. Favorite movie, and I'm kind of at a weird stage in 2021 right now because there are several movies that just came out within the past month I still haven't seen yet that could jump up, like A Quiet Place 2. Still haven't seen Black Widow and Nobody, which I've heard great things about.
Loved all three.
Up until this point, really my favorite one that I've seen so far is No Sudden Move, which was kind of I think Horns is giving me some weird looks over there. Are you?
No.
Oh, okay.
I
thought you were like, oh, God.
I haven't seen it yet.
So, yes, whenever the trailer first came out for this, I was like, I got high expectations. Hope this holds up. And it really does. Has a great cast. Has Brendan Fraser, which I haven't seen in ever, and packed on a few pounds. We were texting off pod about this.
Remember that role he's playing, Matt? He's playing the whale. He's playing someone who tries to eat themselves to death.
Method actor right there.
I think it got canceled too after he gained all the weight.
Was it ever even real, or did he just use it as an excuse to
I don't know.
But yeah, this one's it's set. Now I can't remember. It's like the 50s, I think. But kind of that gangster vibe. Got Don Cheadle in it. Benicio del Toro. Really great cast, and I always forget his name, but Macaulay Culkin's brother, Kieran Culkin.
He's
Kieran
really
Culkin. Yeah, he's in it too. He always plays a nice, subtle secondary character.
Mm-hmm.
This is one you have to pay attention to. There will be a second viewing for me, but unlike Tenet, which I've watched twice and still I'm pretty confused.
You get more confused the more you watch Tenet.
Yeah, on No Sudden Move, I still understand the gist. There's a lot of backstabbing and going behind people's backs and stuff like that. But nice little cameo in there too. I won't spoil that for anyone who
I
hasn't
had
seen
that cameo spoiled for me on a podcast.
Oh, did you? Oh,
It's the director, and I believe he wrote it too, is Steven Soderbergh, who did one of Matt and my favorite movies, Ocean's 11.
yeah. But yeah, really, really great movie. Really well done.
I wish it would have got spoiled for me because I absolutely fucking hate the actor. So when I was like, "This is it," I'm like, "Damn it!" But as Thurman said, you have to pay attention. I watched the first half while I was playing with my kid. I watched the second half, and my wife's like, "Hey, don't turn it up too loud because you might wake him up." And I have no fucking clue what happened. But all the acting was good, the tone and everything. I think it'd basically be like watching Pulp Fiction for the first time without paying attention.
Right.
That's a good comparison.
I think I texted Matt and I was like, "Hey, you saw this. Would I like it?" And you were like, "I had to watch my kid, but what I was able to actually watch, I really enjoyed."
Yeah.
It was really good. And it seemed like an Ocean's 11, like, man, there's a big plot device here. I wish I was paying attention and I wish I should just turn closed caption on it if I think about it though.
Yeah, I'm to the point in my life where I have it on at all time. And this was kind of one of those other ones which has randomly been popping up lately. Like the action scene's super loud and then the dialogue is soft. I have to keep going up and down. I don't know what it
did
is.
that too. And I'm like, who is mixing this shit?
So that's weird.
So low because it was like they're talking in a whisper and then like a gunshot goes off or something.
Right. Hulu does that with their commercials. Like the show or movie is like really low and the fucking Clorox commercial comes on and my speakers blow out. And
then also the last thing, Ray Liotta is also in it as well, so you get that classic gangster vibe.
Do you think there's a law that if you do any type of a period piece or anything revolving around organized crime and you don't at least offer Ray Liotta a bit part, you have to serve like a 3-month jail sentence?
He gets a cut even if he's not in it, so it's whatever.
He's like, you must well ask me to be on set.
Supposed to be in theaters? And was this just a COVID movie that they're like, fuck it, just stream it? Or
well, HBO kind of fucked up because like 6 months ago they said they were going to release everything day and date on their streaming service, and a lot of directors have been like, fuck you, we want it in theater. So they're doing both with some movies, and I think the Soderbergh one was one that they just decided to do stream.
This seemed like a trailer, like if I saw in theaters, I'd be like, damn, I'm going to go see this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I didn't know much about this movie until like 2 months before it came out, to be honest. That's my own fault.
Yeah, it kind of snuck up on me too, but
and Thurman, you could touch on this too, but HBO Max fucking sucks at promoting their shit. And their algorithm, when it's like, this is for you, I'm like, I don't want to see any of these fucking movies. No Sudden Move. I had to watch the NBA Finals to get a fucking trailer on that. That should be top center whenever I click on HBO Max, like that trailer playing.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because HBO Max isn't one of those platforms I go to and just kind of browse because not what I want is going to be up top. I'll go there very pointed. Like I'll go there to watch a TV show I know is on there or something. Not like Netflix. I'll just scroll through and try and find something that's posted up top.
That's a really good point. When I go to HBO Max, I also think it's really clunky, like the app to navigate.
A little bit. Yeah.
So I have to know exactly what I'm looking for. Netflix, I just fuck around with and look. And as Matt and I have said, I've watched some dark shit on Netflix to where it's like, we think you might like this, and sometimes I'm like, no, what the fuck is that?
Just in a weird space at that time.
Hey, you watch 6 hours of The Punisher. This is just a screensaver of a Jack Daniels bottle spinning around.
Yeah. But
Nate, did you have a series as well that you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I will. I'll go and throw this in there. We'll wrap it up to not go too long. But Loki. I'm gonna go ahead and throw Loki out there. The new Marvel installation. And just overall, they've done great with all their series that they've been coming out with. And go listen to all of our reviews of every episode of Loki. I won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but stuff happens in this that is going to affect the MCU going forward. So if you are an MCU fan, you have to watch this.
I would argue almost on tell me if I'm crazy. Would you say that it is on the level of the Snap in terms of affecting the MCU?
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
Not a question.
Okay. And also Owen Wilson is just an absolute delight.
Yes, he's great. Obviously kind of a wild card throwing him into this scenario, but him and Hiddleston played great off of each other. He's fantastic.
Definitely.
And that is it.
All right. I have a movie and a series as well. My favorite movie, I'm kind of with Geiger, man. This one really, really surprised me. I saw it in theaters, even though it was also on Disney Plus, and I feel like the main performance in this should get an Oscar nomination. Now, it came out probably too early in the year for this to happen, but that would be Cruella, starring Emma Stone, which just blew me away. I mean, Matt, I know you liked it, probably not as much as I did, but I was getting kind of Joker vibes the whole time.
It's good. Yeah.
And Emma Stone is just having an absolute blast. Say that
If
again.
if that one's still out in theaters, I mean, go see that.
Fantastic.
And Matt, I don't know if this annoyed you or not, but I thought the soundtrack was really good too. A lot of good classic rock songs. Maybe too many, to be honest.
I even said that, I think it was on Pod, where I'm like, it sounded like they listened to our podcast. Like, all right, here you go, Geiger. I'm like, okay, well, that's enough. Like, I love
there was
music,
like
but shit.
It was like every other scene there was a classic rock
I
song.
have to say, at the end, playing the Rolling Stones "Sympathy for the Devil."
Yes,
And also, they didn't do the, oh, well, we're gonna have Rolling Stones "Sympathy for the Devil," but we're gonna have like Lady Gaga sing it. I'm like, no, just do the fucking original. And they did that the whole time, and it was really well done.
Interesting.
I actually remember thinking, because it costs a lot to license out those songs. I was like, this is probably like $100 million of their budget.
Disney, man, come on.
The fuck. But Nate, I think you would enjoy it, and the wife would too. If for nothing else, Emma Stone is just like the fucking reins are off, and she's going nuts.
Yeah, I've heard awesome things. Like I said, if it's still in theater, I might need to go out and see that. Still looking to pop the cherry on going back to the theater, so that may be the one.
Yeah, I think it is still at AMC when I checked this week just to see what was still there.
Yeah, sad. I know there's one near our house that still hasn't opened that we both like. The Flicks, but yeah.
Yes. Oh man, I love that place. I actually saw Endgame one of the 4 times I saw it there. I think with Geiger even.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's a good spot, but yeah, they haven't reopened yet, so.
The other thing I watched, a limited series on HBO Max, and actually I think Nate recommended this to me, and I cannot recommend this highly enough. Geiger, I think I told you about it, is Mayor of Easttown with Kate Winslet. It's basically like just a good season of True Detective. Like one of the good seasons. Yeah. It's a murder mystery, limited series. I feel like, and Nate, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it concludes everything, right? You're not left hanging like, oh, what the fuck, man, for season 2. There's
No, it completely wraps up, and it keeps the twist and turn keep going until like the very end almost.
Yes.
Like you go into like the last episode and you're like, shit, I thought we got this resolved. Nope. Joke's on you.
Yeah. I remember checking the runtime. I was like, unless there's 30 minutes of credits, some more crazy shit is about to happen.
And it was so well written. It wasn't like they just threw this on at the end. It was really good.
Evan Peters in a very different role than we typically see him in, and Guy Pearce, who I just love in everything, and I don't trust him in anything ever. So
there's a little bit of that in this series too.
Don't let him out of your fucking sight. Guy Pearce.
Yeah, it's very good. Highly recommend.
Mayor of Easttown, and I can't remember. Was it 6 episodes or 8? It was an even number.
I want to say 6, but we just watched Loki, so I can't remember.
Yeah. Either way, highly recommend.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm excited to hear Geiger's for this because he is our enforcer. Matt, what is your least favorite movie or TV series you've watched in 2021?
Wouldn't really consider it my least favorite, but it's just for people. You don't have to watch this, and that is Justice League: The Snyder Cut. You don't have to watch it.
Nice.
It is what you think it is, for good or bad. You know, if you think it's too dark, it is. If you want dark, you'll get it. But at the end of the fucking day, it doesn't fucking matter. We got what we got.
Sadly,
We got the Josh Whedon thing. There's no putting the toothpaste back in the tube, even though DC tries all the time.
It's a good analogy.
So just stop. And stop with release the air cut. Stop with release the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever because it was dark too.
I mean, that sounds pretty good though.
It does, but after a while, man, you have to pardon me because I don't really know which is which on the political spectrum, but like, you know, one side is for maybe some government overreach, one side's for not. We clearly know how it works in the movie industry. Marvel kind of, you know, Disney kind of lets Marvel run the ship. We'll see how that works for them. Just You can just look at the look at the Rotten Tomatoes scores if you want to. It's been working pretty well. And Warner Brothers has overreached on everything. They get Batman right half the time. They fuck up Suicide Squad. They fuck up Wonder Woman. They fuck up Game of Thrones. They overreached on that. They're like, hey, fuck the books. Let's just go and see what happens. They fuck up that TV show. I mean, after a while, man, you gotta, when is Jerry the owner going to fire Jerry the GM? And yeah, we can get these
great reference.
Justice League movies, and you're like, okay, that's great. Why didn't you do that? I was in the theater, $25 on opening night, 3.5 fucking hours, and you fucked it up. And now you expect me to give you 4 hours on the exact same fucking movie that's not even canon anyways? Don't waste your time. If you're like a huge Batman fan, sure, whatever. But if you're just a casual fan like most people are, don't waste your fucking time on it. It needs to stop. Get it right the first time.
I will say, and I enjoyed it, but the Snyder Cut on HBO Max is belligerently long.
Oh, yeah.
It is like so full of itself.
It was like 4 hours?
More than they're supposed to do. They're supposed to add to a good film, not totally change the tone and the ending and everything of a film. It's not to cover up your fuck ups. It's like the only thing that really comes to mind is like Troy. Troy was a good movie, I believe, and then you see the director's cut and it adds some different scenes. They're like, oh, these are cool, but at the overall end, Paris still shoots Achilles. Eric Bana still dies. The tone's still the same. But I mean, these movies are like, they're totally fucking different, and it makes no fucking sense.
And the DC thing, like obviously the Zack Snyder tragedy affected it, but based on stuff I've read, even if that didn't happen, I don't think Warner Brothers was going to let him make this movie anyway. Like it's not like if the tragedy didn't happen, this is what we would have seen in theaters.
And I hate being right. I really do. And I'm right a lot on this podcast. I
don't
fucking hate it.
But okay.
But some people are nudging. See, Jared Leto I was like, I knew Jared Leto could always fucking do this. He's a tremendous actor, but you got to allow him to do it, and you can't allow him to do it on his like third try being the fucking Joker. It's dead now. No one cares.
Yeah. Good stuff. This just shows you like my tunnel vision.
Fucking.
I know it's a lot. I actually forgot that came out this recently. I think because by the time I started watching it and finished watching it, a whole year had passed because that's how long it is.
Fair enough.
And I enjoyed it, but again, like Zack Snyder, you can't come up with a 4-hour, 20-minute cut of something and think it's ever going to see the light of day.
It lasted longer than 14 days to bend the curve. That's how long this fucking movie is.
I think, and I'm not even joking, was the movie longer than Dennis Rodman's marriage to Carmen Electra?
It is really long.
Close. Those are going to be close.
We'd have to get the exact minute measurements.
And what's insane is this not even like, it wasn't even discussed of this being a 2-parter either. Like, this is the movie.
This is it.
Well, the second part he had written like was not even in this. It's like he was going to make a second part.
That'd be 12 hours.
It's a little ridiculous. All right, Nate, what is basically the least favorite thing you've seen this year, movie or show, or if you have one of each, what are they?
I'm gonna leave the TV because I know we have some crossover. So.
Oh, good. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But movie, and I think this may have been one of those where I had high expectation. No, at the end of the day, I just don't think it's a good movie. I'm not going to try and dress it up.
I'm not going to blame myself.
No. But The Little Things with Denzel.
Oh yeah, and Jared Leto.
Malik and Jared Leto.
Did you see this, Matt, on HBO Max?
No.
Anyone else?
It's up for our Oscar bait award, our Oscar.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know what they're trying to do with this movie, and not specifically just the movie in general. I don't know what the characters are supposed to be in this movie. Jared Leto, he plays a freak, but I don't know how much of a freak he's supposed to be playing. Like, is he supposed to be able to fit into society? Sometimes he seems that way, sometimes he's not. I don't know. He has like this weird walk too that he does that's a little
Jared Leto's way too much in this role.
Yeah.
Man. He adds weird shit to his character that he's like, what if I walked with like this weird limp? And the director's like, I mean, it's not really doing anything, but I guess.
The director's like, I'm going to tell you not to do it, but I know you're going to do it anyway, so fuck it. I don't know.
His agent's like, Jared thinks the character would have a limp. Like, I guess fucking limp. I don't.
And yeah, like I said, I just don't know what the characters are trying to be like in this movie. It was super weird, and Malik's performance was weird too.
I'll say this. I think Rami Malek, Matt, hot take coming at you. He's a fraud. His Freddie Mercury performance, lightning in a bottle. I think the dude sucks as an actor.
I think you could be onto something there.
I never thought he was that good. I hated that movie, and I think he had one role in his life that he could play, and it was Freddie Mercury. That's it. He's done. But
He's
I've never
like,
seen. I really thought, you know why? It's because it's on the fucking USA Network.
Yeah.
What good shows on there? Oh, after Law and Order, let's stick around to watch some acting. Fuck you.
all two people that watch the show White Collar are at home right now, like, hey.
Yeah. But if little things, it came out on HBO Max, I think. But if I saw this on cable TV or anything, it's not one of those. I'm gonna I'll watch a few minutes of it. I'm not gonna revisit this one ever.
No, that's a great one because I remember like an hour in and I paused it and I said to my wife, I was like, this should be way better, right? Like, why?
Yeah.
Why does this suck so much?
Yeah, Denzel didn't seem like into it. I don't know, but it was just it was a big swing and a miss for me, which was disappointing.
On paper, if you would have said Rami Malek, Jared Leto, Denzel Washington, murder mystery, I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, that was the biggest disappointment for 2021 for me.
So since we're sharing the TV series that we have liked the least, I hate to pile on HBO Max because they have had a lot of good shit this year. I just referenced Mayor of Easttown. And I did see this movie in theaters, even though it was an HBO Max release as well. But the musical written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, In the Heights. Man, if you're going to sit here and be like, oh, man, you just fucking hate musicals, that's absolute bullshit. Although I'm about to shit on a musical here in a second.
Yeah.
Both Mamma Mia's are some of my favorite movies. I loved Hamilton. I think Lin-Manuel Miranda is a genius. But this thing at 2 hours, 26 minutes, chill the fuck out. Okay? Get over yourself. There are no bangers in it, I would argue. Hamilton has a lot of bangers.
There's half a banger in it. 96,000.
96,000. Okay, that's a pretty solid one. Besides that,
half a banger.
Nothing else really slaps. Mm-hmm. And my least favorite part, Nate, you'll probably remember the scene. The girl who will interrupt her boyfriend mid-sentence to be like, hang on, let me listen to my block.
Yeah, if they would have thrown that out, it would have improved the movie quite a bit because she does it several times, and it's just so corny and cheesy. I'm like, we really don't need this.
And I also put this on which, by the way, guys, feel free to edit this, but I put it on the Brosker spreadsheet as a nominee for the 2 a.m. drunk text asking you up for a movie that's desperate for Oscar recognition. Mm-hmm. Because that scene towards the end where it's like a fantasy sequence where they start dancing sideways on the building.
Yeah.
That thing thought it was iconic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that scene was feeling itself.
Yeah, it's always weird when you have a movie or musical in this sense that's kind of going along the same path, and all of a sudden they throw this little fantasy thing in there. I'm like, oh, this is a change of direction. I don't think I like it.
It's called art, Nate.
Oh, okay, maybe it is.
You either like it or you don't get it.
Yeah, it was weird.
I want to play a game where we, unbeknownst to Geiger, although now he'll know because he's listening, we start In the Heights and have him watch it and see if he can make it past the first song.
It's worth a watch, but yeah, it's not great.
And then he'll look at it and see it's 2 hours, 27 minutes and be like, well, why the fuck are we even trying?
Done.
All right, the last thing, and this is, look, if you think that this is low-hanging fruit and we're beating up on this series for our least favorite thing we've watched this year, I have to say, I was a huge fan of season 1 of the show. Were you, Nate?
Oh, 100. That's why I'm watching season 2.
Right, and it is a fucking slog, and that is the Disney Plus original series, High School Musical, the series. Nate, I'll let you go first on how brutal this thing has been to get through.
Like, I understand what the premise of the show is. They're high school kids. They're in high school. There's going to be drama, but they are just the biggest fucking bunch of crybabies,
right?
Over the stupidest stuff. And God. Ricky, I have no idea what his problem is. He's just creating issues with Nene for no reason. Just because he has his own issues. All
every character does is whine. And again, I get teen angst is a thing, but this has reached like critical mass levels. Like that's all the episode is every single character complaining about other characters.
Oh, me and the wife got like 3 episodes behind it because I just like forgot. I was like, fuck, I don't really want to. I'm not enjoying this right now. I don't want to watch it. I'm caught up now, but I didn't enjoy it.
I'm one behind. I just watched the spring break episode, which probably the least fun spring break I've ever had in my fucking life.
Yeah. But it's just and like Horns was saying a second ago, we both really enjoyed season 1, and that's why we're watching season 2, and it is just coming up short with the character flaws.
This show has to realize that its role in my life is to be the show that doesn't take itself seriously and kind of pokes fun at itself.
Make fun of yourself. Yes.
I don't need to watch you for my like update on how teen relationships are going and what jealousy looks like in the sophomore year of high school. I've lived through it.
Been there, done that.
All right, to round us out, the wild card category, which we're each making up our own to talk about something that didn't fit into our favorite or least favorite thing we've watched this year. Geiger, we will let you go first. What do you have for us?
So I want to do a new segment. I can't remember the acronym for this, but who the fuck asked for this? So WT, you can put it on there. And that is the American Underdog story. The American Underdog, a Kurt Warner story. Have any of you seen this trailer?
Okay,
No.
I didn't. Is this like is Zachary Levi playing him?
Of course he is. And I think Megan Rapinoe or Ellen DeGeneres is probably playing his wife. Guys, this looks fucking awful. And I don't know if you know, Jeff, you probably know Kurt Warner's wife, right?
She's a lunatic. She used to call into Arizona radio stations anytime they would criticize him, right?
Right. And she's an executive producer. So if you thought that Sandra Bullock going down on the field of Old Miss or whatever and teaching Michael Orr how to block, calling timeout on an SEC game was bad, wait until Kurt Warner's executive producer wife gets in on this, where she's probably going to talk about the greatest show on turf and how, I called the slant to Isaac Bruce to win the Super Bowl and stuff. And Dennis Quaid is in it because he's making a resurgence too, because he's going to be Reagan in a movie this year also.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
But, is he Dick Vermeil? Who is he in the movie?
I don't know if he's Dick Vermeil or the GM. I can't tell. He has gray hair. Like I would buy him as Dick Vermeil. So but why? And Kurt Warner, I saw him talking. He's like, man, everyone always said like, man, your story needs to be a movie. And I get that, he's not the average quarterback. He was like working at a grocery store for a while. Football and Trent Green was the quarterback, I believe, that was really good, then got hurt, and then Warner stepped in, just kind of like Brady with Bledsoe, and then won a Super Bowl. But man, I mean, I don't know why. Is anyone going to go see this? Like what? And it looks awful. So the way the trailer makes it look is that he's in an arena football stadium when he plays arena football, but with the Rams jersey, he also looks like he's in the arena football stadium. Like they didn't have enough money to rent out the whole stadium. Like I don't know what they're doing about that.
Okay, so
it looks absolutely.
So Anna Paquin is playing Kurt Warner's wife, Brenda Warner. Yeah, Brenda Warner wishes is first what I would say. Dennis Quaid is Dick Vermeil, which actually that part has me intrigued.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in on Dennis Quaid.
And then let me share my screen. This guy, Bruce McGill, plays... let me pull it back up. Jim
Isaac
Foster.
Falk in there?
Is what?
Is Isaac Bruce and Marshall Falk in there? Or are they like just extras?
Yeah, O.J. Keith Simpson plays Marshall Falk. I don't see at least on the top build. But this guy...
O.J. Simpson?
I don't know who Jim Foster is, but isn't this guy from Legend of Bagger Vance? Pull him up here. Isn't he one of the golfers at the end?
Oh, he's Walter Hagen.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
In a lot of sports movies. He's also in 61.
Yeah, it did look really televisual, right? It looks like the budget is not where it needs to be.
It looks like, those Christian movies that are about sports that at the end all you had to do was pray and you'd win state? That's what it looks like. Like, that's what the budget looks like. It's really weird.
All you had to do was pray and you'd win state. Only one team prayed. That's why they won, right? State. Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah, that's what this looks like, which is weird because, you got you got Zachary Levi. I mean, that's a pretty big name. I would say you got Dennis Quaid, which is like the
Yeah, and Anna
B-minus
Paquin. That's a big top build. It's coming out in December 10th. So good luck competing against Spider-Man.
Right around Christmas. It's going toward like the Christian conservative, like just watch the trailer.
100%. Let me read you
Yeah,
the
to read the
plot
trailer.
synopsis and how much this is just neglecting from the story. The plot synopsis on Google says Kurt Warner leaves his job at a supermarket to become a Super Bowl winning quarterback in the NFL. Yeah, because that's how it happened.
Okay, well,
Shift's
little
done.
more.
Time to go win the Super Bowl.
there's a little more to the story.
Actually, this Rams guys looking they need a quarterback, so I think I'm going to go do that to stock these shelves. That's cool with everyone.
Oh, is that position open? Yeah, I'll go take it. Okay, cool.
I saw an ad on Indeed for a quarterback.
Well, joke's on him because in 2020, actually stocking shelves is a better, paying job than playing football.
But yeah, when I read a synopsis like that, I almost feel like, how dumb does Hollywood think we are?
I can't wait for this because the Michael Orr story I had really no clue about. He was some offensive lineman that I kind of thought was good, but I watched football, but I don't know offensive lineman. But Kurt Warner, I mean, I know his story.
Oh, I remember every.
So I can't wait. I mean, I know pretty much every detail because I remember hearing about it all the fucking time. Just like Ryan Fitzpatrick went to Harvard. You hear about it every fucking week.
Yeah.
He played arena football, then worked at a grocery store, and then made the Rams. Now he's Super Bowl champ. And I don't know if they'll get into Arizona at all, because didn't he win a Super Bowl at Arizona?
They, I believe, lost to that Steelers team, right? Because that's when James Harrison had that 99-yard fumble return at the end of the half.
But this will be, and Kurt Warner's wife will definitely be like, Kurt, you can't give up. He's like, I'm just going to be a grocery bagger my whole life. It's like, no, you got to go try out for the Rams. I guarantee you that's what's
And of course, Brenda Warner picks Anna Paquin. Like, she's hot enough to play me. Like, hot enough to play you?
Whoa. Pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah, seriously. Dial it back a bit, Brenda.
I can't wait for her to run routes in the backyard. It's like, Kurt, last week you missed that slant to Isaac. You gotta wait. You gotta wait till he cuts. Tell him how to do it.
And of course, it's all Kurt Warner, not the fact that Oz Hakeem was their third receiver and returned like 4 punts for a touchdown, and they have 3 Hall of Famers: Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, and Marshall Faulk on offense.
Don't worry about that.
That's a good one. I like how you picked something you haven't even seen yet, but it'll be your least favorite thing that you watched.
Who the fuck asked for this?
WTF AFT.
Yeah.
Who the fuck asked for this? American Underdog. Don't go see it December 10th. All right, Nate, what is your wild card category?
My wild card category is not the same as Horns, but related since Banner is not on the pod tonight. R.I.P. Yeah. He's not dead. I'm kidding.
Well, even though we're Skyping.
Yeah. But mine will be thanks Banner, but no thanks. So this is something that he got me to
of the podcast. I feel like,
yeah, that he got me to watch that I'm not proud that I watch, but I still watch it going into season 2, and that is Too Hot to Handle on Netflix, which is just a bunch of horny people they throw on an island and tell them they can't have sex, and if they don't have sex, then they win money. That's pretty much all you need to know.
He watches he watches that. He watches The Circle. He watches Love is Blind.
Those were the two. You literally took the words out of my mouth. Those were the 2 examples I was going to give, because he also got me to watch Love is Blind last year whenever it came out. And I begrudgingly enjoyed it. But season 2 has come out of Too Hot to Handle, and it is just the most cringeworthy shit you can ever watch on TV or any streaming device. It's insane. I'm
assuming they pump these, mid-20s attractive people full of alcohol too, right?
Oh yeah, they're just on a resort somewhere, pumping alcohol in them, and they get about 24 hours before they actually know. They, I don't know, lure them with, oh hey, you're on some reality show with some other false premise on it, and then about 24 hours in is when they drop the bomb on them. But they still fuck around and fool around and all that kind of stuff. They just lose money when they do it. And then at the end of the day, like the total, it's like $100,000, which they could win, but there's like 10 people there. So I mean, I'd say just fucking have a good time and go home with no money.
Mean, unless you can get everybody else to fuck each other and you win the money, like just if you're young, single, just whatever.
It's not like you're each winning $100,000. It's split. So I mean, just go have a good time. You can probably get like an Instagram modeling contract after this anyway. So
yeah, if they weren't Instagram models before, they definitely are after.
Oh yeah,
they'll at least have an OnlyFans page.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you can make more money off like a month of OnlyFans than you could splitting that bonus.
Yeah. But
I gotta ask, with these Netflix shows, because the way Netflix still operates is the binge model, right? Like they drop everything at once.
Yeah.
So does Banner run through these in like a day?
He goes through them pretty quick, yeah.
Banner works an insane amount of hours. He spends a ton of time with his wife and daughter. He must not sleep.
I don't know. I think there's two of them.
That must be it. I know he sleeps because he gets up early and he goes to bed relatively early, but there must be. I think Geiger's onto something. There's two of them. He's been in the lab cloning himself.
Right. It's like multiplicity where he like makes 5 of him to do his chores and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, which one of us gets to actually spend time with my family this week? We draw straws.
Never cloned any of them with like a shirt on.
No,
never.
He's like, I'm allergic to polyester. You know that.
It itches.
Yeah, gives me a rash. Did you just have one for that, Nate? Because I'm sure we had to. Okay,
that was just my one.
Banner, thanks, but no thanks. That's our spin-off podcast.
Yep.
Mine also, my wild card category also ties into Brian Banner. It's thing I enjoyed that I know I can only talk about with Brian Banner. And both of these are animated. The first one is the show Invincible on Amazon Prime. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but the voice cast is just utterly ridiculous. It's J.K. Simmons, Sandra Oh, Mahershala Ali, Seth Rogen, Walton Goggins.
I've heard good things about this.
Yeah, it is insanely dark as far as like animated series goes. And I'm watching it. It's like a 10 episode series. I think they're like 35 minutes. And I'm through episode 1 and I'm like, okay, this is cool. Like, I like it, but I don't really see the difference. And then the last 5 minutes of episode 1, some crazy shit happens. And I'm like, okay.
What platform did you say it was on?
Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Which I think I just heard about this one again through Brian, and then I got so much word of mouth traction that I watched it. Really, really good. Highly recommend.
Superheroes, right?
Yes, but it's a very dark take kind of on superheroes, or at least you don't know it is until something happens at the end of episode 1.
Gotcha.
Not really a spoiler, but kind of a spoiler.
Okay.
And then the other thing is a Netflix original movie by the animators who did Into the Spider-Verse. And it's called The Mitchells versus the Machines. Did either of you guys watch this?
Have not.
So the premise is there's this family. Danny McBride voices the dad. Maya Rudolph is the mom. I'm not sure who voices the 2 kids, but and basically their daughter is about to go to college. She's going to a filmmaking school. She like makes a bunch of YouTube videos and is like kind of an up and coming filmmaker. And her dad, Danny McBride, really just does not get her. Like he doesn't get the YouTube craze. He doesn't get memes. He doesn't fucking get it. But as sort of a last ditch,
memes.
He doesn't get. He's an old, as the kids say. And in a last ditch attempt to sort of connect with his daughter, he offers to have the family drive her across country, road trip her to college before she starts school. As they leave the road trip, something very realistic I feel like could happen. The robot apocalypse happens via an update on the smartphone that everyone downloads, and then their phones and computers start taking over the world. The Mitchells, however, are unaware because their dad mandates no cell phones on the road trip. So case in point, Danny McBride and his kids, end up having to combat the robot apocalypse in a way that only the Mitchells can. And there's some really it's one of those movies that I like because there's a lot of jokes that hit just for adults that kids won't get, which is really good. And the animation is just really good, and it's short. It's like an hour, 18 minutes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I highly recommend. This is already nominated for the Oscar for movie that was supposed to be for kids, but adults really liked, or we really liked.
I'll have to add that to the list.
Yeah, definitely recommend. Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Solid.
All right. Anything else? We're ready to move on to our protein shake.
Let's move on.
Let's do it. All right. The second part of our show is our protein shake, where we go around and talk about what is in our cup, also known as what have we watched lately. We have a few overlapping things here, but let me just start off with a shameless plug. Matt, Banner, and I did, as you're listening to this, it's probably been up for about a week, but we did a movie commentary on the Disney animated film A Bug's Life. So go check that out. It's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Matt, anything you want to tease the people with for A Bug's Life? The first comment we got on it was, I knew you guys would go for the spacey joke, and I'm not mad about it. We had to do it.
Oh, I haven't listened to it yet. There's a spacey joke.
He's the voice of the villain in it. So.
Oh yeah.
If you're that, you won't be disappointed for sure. Yeah, it's a Pixar movie. We tear it apart. I don't mind A Bug's Life. It's fine. It wasn't as funny as the other ones. I think we talked about that a little bit, but we made up for that.
Yeah, we get into the Bug's Life versus Ants debate, and then obviously Kevin Spacey playing a grasshopper that maybe we were looking for it, but he seemed to have an affinity to the child ants when he went to the ant colony.
Ants, let's say mostly.
Maybe we were looking for that, but I don't know. I feel like I saw it in there. Call me crazy.
A little precursor.
Right. All right, Nate, let's go reverse round robin. Nate, we'll toss it to you first. What's one thing you have watched lately? And again, I know we have some overlap, so if you want to start with something we've all seen, or you can save that stuff for the end, whatever your heart.
I'm just gonna go at the bottom of my list. That's at the bottom for no reason, but recently watched Batman, the 1989 version, with Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson. And I'm blanking
Is that
on
HBO Max?
Yep.
Yes. Wait, what? Oh, you watched it too?
Yeah, right before I came on pod, because you sent in a text message. I'm like, I haven't seen that forever. It's my favorite Batman movie.
I was cracking up at the special effects. I did not realize like 1989 was really that long ago, and it was. There were a few times where Batman was flying in, and you could see the cable he was flying in on.
No way, really?
Yeah, I've got a video of it. I'll send it over.
That's awesome.
But it was good. But the one thing that I really enjoyed and picked up on this, and I think this has been said or has been known, that Heath Ledger picked up a bunch from Jack Nicholson in that Joker role, and there were a lot of different things that you could tell in there. He emphasized a lot of the tics and things in Dark Knight, but there's still like some like lip smacking things and like some things like Nicholson does with his mouth that you can tell
off the page.
Yeah, Ledger picked up on and like did, and then honestly, there's like a huge scene in there where Batman is coming in his airplane Batmobile thing, and Jack Nicholson is standing in the middle of the road, and it like completely mirrors in the Dark Knight. Obviously, whenever he's coming in and he's just like, "Come on," he's like shooting, and Ledger's shooting at Christian Bale in there. So it was really cool seeing a lot of those parallels from that to the Dark Knight, because there were a ton in there.
I remember liking, and I think I texted you this, especially for the first real attempt at Batman, because like the Adam West ones were not like, they weren't really trying to be Batman, but Burton basically said, fuck the origin story, I just want to start it with him being Batman, which is crazy because now every single movie, like I'm sure the Pattinson one's going to have it too to some degree. Burton just threw us right in. Like I think the first 5 minutes he shows up in costume, right?
That's the first time you see him. Yeah.
Like how ballsy was that? That's great.
It holds up to me, especially. I love the Burton Batmans. I'm gonna watch Batman Returns, Steve, probably sometime this weekend, because that's like they're all on HBO.
Yeah,
both
I'll probably have to do that with you too.
It always makes me really sad just wondering what Robin Williams would have been as the Riddler in the third one.
He would have gone full dark, right?
Oh yeah, he was gonna have a question mark saved on his head. I mean, Burton was gonna direct, so yeah, it's gonna be dark as fuck. It'll probably be darker as in the first two.
Then Warner Brothers was like, but how do we sell this in a Happy Meal? Wait,
Yeah, so I don't understand.
Yeah, that's kind of tough. But yeah, you mentioned like the Adam West ones. It was kind of funny because it was kind of like a transition. Like there was a little hokiness to it in some of the fighting and some of those scenes that you kind of, not like they didn't fucking put pow up on the screen or anything,
right.
But there was a little bit of that in there. But then yeah, obviously there was a lot of darkness, and especially with Jack Nicholson's Joker character, it added a lot of that flavor in there as well.
I think Keaton, the one thing I always really loved about him is he played his Batman to me was always like kind of the most mysterious, but also the way he fought, especially in the first Batman, it was almost like Burton was like, you know what's really cool? If you like hardly move when you kick the shit out of people.
Yeah.
He would like only move his arm a little bit or like his leg a little
just
bit.
Throw him through a window.
Right.
I love the Prince songs too.
Yeah, there's some creepy shit in there. I'm actually surprised that didn't scare me as a kid because everything scared me as a child. I was a bit of a bitch.
Yeah.
All right, Geiger, what's in your cup? What's something you've watched lately?
Just keep it on HBO Max, and Thurman can jump in on this one too. But watch Let Him Go. Wanted to see this for a while since I saw the trailer. Superman's parents are in it, so sure, I'll watch it. Right. Kevin Costner, Diane Lane. My wife actually said that when it first started, and I just like, yeah, right. Huh.
Sorry, real quick. Do you prescribe to the cyclic theory that this is connected to Man of Steel?
It is.
Is the child actually Clark?
I think it's an alternative universe, maybe Earth 3, and the kid actually turns out to be like the Soviet Superman somehow. But that's another pod for another time. But and Thurman, you could. This is way different than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be about, we all know a friend that got divorced and the kids, and you got to settle it in the courts no matter. And usually one of them is not capable of raising a kid, but usually that person gets it. Yeah. But this is not about that at all. This is about a backwoods, like, hey, we're going to use guns and a fucking axe to like get what we want, which is not what I thought it was at all. I liked it, but I thought it was going to be a totally different movie. And I didn't know is going to be set in like the 60s, which was interesting.
Yeah, that was kind of a cool aspect of it. It was set a little bit back, so you obviously didn't have some like cell phones and technology things that could play into it. But yeah, basically the story of two grandparents, Kevin Costner and Diane Lane, trying to get their grandson back, who is in a bad relationship with their previous daughter-in-law now, and the new husband is part of a pretty backwoods family who does things off the books, and they've kind of got the right arm of the law on their side.
I was going to ask,
which plays into it.
Playing, ignorance, the guy that hasn't seen it but is interested. What is the town just so small that like if they went to law enforcement, they're like related to the family or something? Is that the issue there?
Not related, but it's kind of implied that they're on the payroll because the cops kind of play along at some point. But Jeffrey Donovan did a really good job in it too. He played Bill Weeboy, and if anyone's seen Fargo season 2, he played actually a very similar role.
Oh, that guy's good. He's in a lot of stuff.
To another backwoods family.
Was he the creepy Weeboy?
Huh?
Was he the creepy Weeboy?
Oh yeah, Bill. He was like the main one that they first see. Yeah,
he was really good.
Yeah. He plays a really good creepy dude.
He shows up in a lot of things, and he's always creepy.
Like something happens at the hotel, Thurman. I didn't think that was going to happen.
That caught me off guard.
I was like, huh. Okay. It made sense, I guess, in the third act, but this was an adrenaline rush from start to finish for me. Like it definitely had me on the edge of my seat. There's a couple things that I absolutely hated. Like, and my brother-in-law would hate this fucking movie, who is Special Forces, when like you go into a house with the bad people and you put down your gun to like talk to somebody. I'm like, you never fucking do that.
I just want to talk.
I hate that.
And I
Like
think
Diane Lane put down her gun to talk to Kevin Costner, and I'm like, if he was a husband at all, he'd be like screaming like, "Don't fucking put down your gun. We don't know who's dead and who's not."
What's the downside of just having the gun in your hand? You know, if you don't use it, that's fine, but at least you have
I
it.
don't know.
At least you have it.
Sorry, Nate, real quick. Two things.
Yeah,
Number one, Jeffrey Donovan is 53 years old.
Looks good for 53.
That's crazy. And then two, Matt, we talked about this last week, just looking it up. Run time for Let Him Go, hour 54 minutes. If you're under 2 hours these days, I'm good.
That's one of the main reasons I turned it on the other night. I was like, oh, I can watch this and go to bed at a reasonable hour.
Yeah. Sorry, Nate, I interrupted you.
Oh, I think what I was going to say is, Geiger, I think you text us off pod, but Diane Lane should be up for an Oscar on this one. Dude, she was
best
good.
supporting actor for sure.
For Still Hot. Is that an Oscar that they give out?
Yeah. They make her look older too, right?
Oh, yeah.
They do.
Like the makeup team has, when Diane Lane shows up, they're like, fuck, we have our hands full to make you not look attractive to
Good luck.
Yeah. I could see the Academy, and Diane Lane is still hot. And she just comes up. It's not an award. She just waves and people
This again came out kind of probably too early for an Oscar nom, I would think. But man, she's fantastic. That's because Costner really doesn't do much. He's like really the old school guy. Doesn't say much. You know, carries a big stick or whatever the saying goes. But Diane Lane, her character, man, she is fantastic in this. Like whenever.
She's the main role.
There was two things, Thurman. Whenever the ice cream scene, and then whenever the kid said, "Yeah, we went to a burger place. They had mustard on my burger," and she's like, "But you don't like mustard." I'm like, "Oh my god, she's like such a great grandma. I feel so bad for this kid."
So touching.
You got to see it, Jeff. It'll make you feel like really pissed off, like
good
for this kid.
Yeah. Why is that the selling point? Because that works. You got to see it. It'll make you so mad.
We'll love this movie. Your mom would like this movie too.
I'm in. HBO Max, they giveth. I'll say that. All right, am I up? I guess I'm
Go
up.
for it.
I'll just talk about this briefly, and then I'll throw it back to Nate. Black Widow, I actually did. I was going to go to the theaters, and I still will, I think. But we did Disney Plus Premium, just because we had just come back. It was actually my wedding weekend, and came out that weekend. Somehow I let my wife convince me to get married the weekend Black Widow came out, but we're still working through it, going to counseling. But we came back, and I was like, I really want to watch Black Widow, but we're exhausted. I don't really want to go to the theaters right now, so we bought it on Disney Plus Premier Access, which is kind of cool because everyone who has a profile on your account can watch it, and you get it forever. So, like, I can go on and watch it 10 times if I want.
That's good.
But the thing I loved about this, and Matt, maybe you'll agree, is the ancillary characters stood out and were great, but they didn't overpower the movie. Like Yelena, played by Florence Pugh, I loved. Yeah. And I think Red Guardian, played by David Harbour, to me was the scene stealer of the movie.
For sure.
Personally. And I told you this off pod, Matt, but my favorite scene is him in prison bragging about like beating the shit out of Captain America in like the mid 80s. And in his Russian accent, this guy's like, well, if you fought him in 85, he was actually frozen in ice then. And David Harbour just goes, "Are you calling me liar?"
Like, say that prison breakout scene would be my best scene, I think, in that movie.
God, that was great. And then I love how the second they break him out, they're actually like, well, if you don't have the information we want, we'll literally just take you back to the front of the prison. It's like, no, wait, I might know. Something about David Harbour doing a Russian accent is just incredible.
Sounds awesome.
And again, I think the key to this movie, nice little twist at the end, but it wasn't a twist that was such a big revelation where the whole movie you're like, well, if this doesn't work, bro, then this whole movie's fucked. You know, it was just like a nice sort of cherry on top that I liked.
Good. I'm looking forward to it.
So Black Widow, highly recommend. All right, Nate, back over to you.
Short one here. Just saw this on demand on YouTube TV the other day and threw it on. Hell or High Water. Great modern Western. And
Matt, have you seen this? Because this is right down your alley. Chris Pine, Jeff Bridges, Ben Foster.
No.
Oh my God,
Western?
Matt.
Matt has a boner right now.
It was just on YouTube TV. I'm sure it's on something you can watch.
Okay.
But yeah, Hell or High Water. Yeah, Jeff Bridges, Chris Pine, and Ben Foster.
Wait, I've seen this a long time. Okay, yeah, I seen it a long time ago. Okay,
It's
yes.
great. I've probably seen it 3 or 4 times now. If it's on, I'll turn it on. There are just so many. I love the
It's on Hulu,
locality.
by the way. Sorry.
Oh, it is nice.
Yeah.
I love movies that like really get into like the locality of places, and like West Texas is like I don't know, it's just a fun backwoods place that you can really dive into like that certain personality of people out there.
Yeah.
And you get that with like the funny old waitress at that diner, and just Jeff Bridges himself.
I mean, yeah,
And-
Jeff Bridges, this is like a 2-0 fastball down the cock for him. Play like a sheriff in a West Texas town. I can't remember. Is it a contemporary piece or is it set like in the 80s?
It's modern day.
Okay.
Yeah. But him and his partner, they're back and forth. He's one of his favorite lines is his partner, who's I guess like half Mexican, half Indian or something. He's making Indian jokes about him all the day. He's like, I'm half Mexican too. He's like, yeah. Once I'm done with all the Indian jokes, I'll get to those too, or something like that. It's pretty funny.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, but yeah, really great. Ben Foster is great, and he's a weird dude, but he always plays great roles. One of my other favorite westerns, 3:10 to Yuma, he does an awesome job in that too. So,
did I tell you about the time I was in Washington Square Park when I lived in New York City, just taking a walk like at lunch, and he was there screaming at his agent on the phone?
That's an amazing story.
It was probably around the time he was being cast for this role, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, 2016. Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, really, really great one.
What's the runtime on this bad girl? Let me check it out.
I don't think it's that long. Hold on, I had it up here.
Oh, 142? Bro,
yeah, exactly. Knock it out on a weeknight, not too bad.
Yeah, perfect.
It's not a bad flick.
Yeah.
I've seen it in a while.
You guys are the Western crew, so if you recommend it, then we know it's a good Western. Geiger, what else you got?
Okay, let's just talk about Space Jam 2.
All right.
Oh boy, here we go.
Space Jam: A New Legacy. Nate, have you seen this as well? Have all three of us seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Oh, nice.
That's all I have to say about it.
Everything that Jeff is about to say, he saw it first and he told me, and I got pissed. But then when I watched it, actually made sense in the story, so I didn't hate it. I'm not saying that it was fucking brilliant or anything, but LeBron's kid, that's not really his kid, he's an actor. I think one of his kids is actually in it for a second, but it makes sense that he's like a computer nerd, and LeBron hates that he wants to be in basketball, but like instead of aliens, like it's done through like web shit servers and algorithms stuff now. Don Cheadle, I hate. LeBron.
You said Don Cheadle you hate, or what?
I didn't hate. He was fine. I never hate Don Cheadle. I was just like, why is he in this? But he was good in it. One thing I will say is that Jordan, whenever he did it, was just like, I'm just going to be me. I'm not going to try to act. LeBron tries to act, which me and Jeff are talking about. It makes him seem fake. But I think LeBron is a fake person, so I think he's actually really being himself. So I can't not, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, they tried to give LeBron like a character arc, which Jordan never had to juggle in the first Space Jam.
That is true. Yeah.
Without spoiling it, can you guys both agree the joke that happens at halftime of the game involving Michael Jordan, I thought was fucking hilarious.
I did like that. Yeah.
With Sylvester.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was pretty funny. It was nice and lighthearted. And the whole scene was kind of funny.
I'll just say this. I think, again, not that like you could really spoil Space Jam: A New Legacy, but it is. Here's the thing: when you go into a movie like Space Jam, and I say the same thing about the Transformers, if you want to call it grading on a curve, that's fine. But I think you have to base the movie on two things. Number one, your enjoyment. If you don't enjoy it, period, then that's fine. You can discredit the movie. But also, what is it trying to do? A great example is it Let Him Go, the movie you just talked about on HBO Max?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to do something very different than Space Jam: A New Legacy is, right? We can't use the same rubric to grade those two films.
Yeah.
So when I go into Space Jam: A New Legacy, Is it a giant hour 45-minute commercial for Warner Brothers? Yes. Is it campy? Yes. Is it stupid at times and a lot of the jokes don't hit? Yes. But I find a sense of enjoyment in some of those things. Like the Warner Brothers commercial aspect, I was actually not that put off by. I thought it was sort of organic to the story, and it was kind of cool to see all those worlds. And I think I have a nostalgic factor for the first Space Jam, to where something about combining like a sport that I love to watch with movie properties I love, even though it's clearly, again, just a ploy to get my money and kids, to get their parents to go buy them like a stupid fucking jersey or a toy. There's a reason that stuff works, because for some reason it scratches this itch that we don't even know we have. That's like so appealing to us. So I put in my review on Letterboxd. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, and I started the review with, "I know this is not a good movie."
Good way to start.
But I thoroughly enjoyed it. Right? It's like,
yeah,
I don't know. It'd be like if you ate a pack of Skittles and you're like, "Ew, gross. This has a ton of sugar in it." Like, yeah, no shit. That's the point of it. It's Skittles. Like, you don't eat it when you're on a diet.
It's a good way of looking at it.
You don't go watch Space Jam: A New Legacy to see innovative filmmaking or great storytelling. You go watch it because you want to make fun of it and you want to just fucking turn your brain off for 90 minutes.
You want your sugar fix.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes, it's your sugar fix. So that's what I'll say about it. I tried to hate it, but I just couldn't.
I walked in hating it, and halfway through, I'm like, you're gaining my respect.
That's the Matt Geiger special, the crossed arms.
I will never watch it again, but it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
As you say that, when are we doing the commentary next week?
Let's schedule that.
You get Banner well.
There was a lot of fan service, obviously, under the Warner Brother umbrella, but I like that. It was pretty cool seeing Game of Thrones shit, seeing all the Matrix shit, and the cross contamination of the Matrix and some of the Toons characters. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was cheesy and corny. Was LeBron's acting great? No. Was the story that great? No. But there's enough stuff there to keep me entertained that I wasn't bored the whole time.
Wile E. Coyote, unsung hero of that game, right?
He got
him back in it
with the little fucking ball creator. Yeah,
I tweeted it. I was like, no one's gonna talk about it, but bro, he might be the leading scorer on the team.
MVP.
Yeah,
right there.
Give my man the ball. I will say this though, Space Jam is one of those things, and Nate, maybe you'll disagree, but every 20 years is good enough. I do not make a fucking sequel to this in like 2 years.
Nah, we can wait.
Yeah, if you want to change sports, that's okay, but I don't need, like, give me the next generation's GOAT and then it'll be like a rite of passage.
Yep, agreed.
Or Matt had the Tiger Woods idea. I would still go see that tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow,
keep Lola away from him though.
Ooh, that is true.
Yeah, that's especially if she works at a Waffle House.
It was the Perkins, Jeff.
Get it right.
Right.
Class.
Was it Perkins? Because they had like the footage from behind the restaurant of him like picking her up.
Yeah.
Speaking of tomorrow, I watched the Tomorrow War on Amazon Prime, which is the Amazon original movie, like the sci-fi thriller with Chris Pratt in the lead role, where the plot is basically a war is being fought on Earth. Nate, you saw it. Was it 40 years in the future? 50 years in the future?
I want to say 30.
30 actually sounds right. 30 years in the future, and humanity has the technology to come back and basically bring not everyone, but a pretty large amount of people from the past into the future to help them fight the war. And this stars Chris Pratt and J.K. Simmons and Yvonne Strahovski, who I didn't watch Chuck. I know Banner did, but she's pretty good in it, I thought. Betty Gilpin is also in it, who's been in a few things. Nate, I'll let you go first. What did you think about this movie?
I have mixed feelings on this. I was entertained. I mean, it has all your classic action movie tropes, with slow motion shooting at whatever they're shooting at, and big explosions and close calls and all that kind of stuff. But it has J.K. Simmons in it and Chris Pratt, so I was going to give it a shot. And kind of like Space Jam, it kept me entertained. Are there some plot holes and some questions I had? Yes, there are. Were there some questionable calls they made later in the movie? A little bit, but overall, like I said, it was enjoyable. I had some issues with the plot.
Yeah, and again, I'm not normally the one to like nitpick on the plot, but there's some stuff in this that you're just like, that's pretty. It doesn't make any fucking sense. I will say this: my one kind of nitpick. This is 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is overstaying its welcome, and especially considering the whole third act. I won't spoil what happens, but that you did not need any of that. Like that could have been the sequel, which they're making a sequel, but I thought the whole third act should have been the sequel. What do you think, Nate? I don't want to like spoil like what the tipping off point is.
Yeah, I'm trying to tread lightly here. Yeah, I agree. There could have been a cutoff point to where
I guess everything that involves snow could have been a movie.
That's a good way of putting it. And maybe even a little bit before that.
Mm-hmm.
They could have got to a point to where things could have been wrapped up to a certain point, and then they could have traversed on after that. But then that actually is where, when the snow gets involved, that's when I have some issues of the decisions they made and how they went about taking care of the issue.
Yeah, it was very aggressive. We'll put it that way.
It's very aggressive, maybe a little ill-planned. And they even kind of talk it out, and they're like, "No, fuck it, let's do it." I'm like, "Okay, cool. I guess this is what we're doing now." And then obviously with the time travel, there were a few questions like the whole butterfly theory, which wasn't brought up in this movie, but just the butterfly theory in general. Like, right. I don't know how all this works of like them affecting things in the past and the future, and it was a little blurry.
I feel like the movie wanted time travel to just be a thing in like the first 15 minutes, and then they were like the guy at the like the dad whose kid keeps asking him questions, and he's like, just stop.
Yeah.
Okay, it's over with. We're not dealing with that anymore.
They're like, time travel is part of the first and second act. Well, maybe even halfway through the second act, forget about time travel and any implications about it. It doesn't matter. We're just going to go about our business, and
we're done with that.
Be fine. It'll be fine.
We're eating dinner now. We're not talking about time travel.
Yeah, it was your classic summer blockbuster.
I did say this. I loved the monster design, like what the guys they were attacking looked like.
Interesting take. Yeah, there was not to spoil anything, but yeah, there was definitely a feature that you haven't seen in any type of alien or creature before.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I don't know if there's going to be spoiler, but I won't say it. Anyways, but the feature or the thing that the aliens have that they use to fight is kind of interesting.
I was pretty shocked. Like the first time we see the monsters, I was like, okay, the budget for this must be higher than I thought. I don't know if this was one of those movies, again, that was originally planned for a wide theatrical release, but Amazon claims, and they could just be blowing smoke, but that this had shattered all of their previous streaming records. That's why they greenlit a sequel so quickly.
Oh, wow. I could see that. I think they did a nice introduction of the monster / alien / creature thing too as well. It's a bunch of mystery at the beginning. They talk about it a little bit, and they see glimpses of it. And the way they show you like glimpses of it, you're like sitting on your couch like, am I seeing something there? Wait, I think I saw something. Wait, was that? I don't know. It's kind of weird.
There's some cool visuals.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, that is all that I watched. Nate, do you have anything else?
The one last thing I'll touch on, me and the wife are tackling Veep right now. Hilarious. Highly recommend. I think we're in the season 3 now. Julie Louis-Dreyfus is fantastic and crass and harsh in it, and it's awesome. Seeing her like in that role and in a powerful role, and just seeing like the curtain behind politics, and they're making fun of politics too. So it's kind of a nice reprieve from any political tired head anyone may have over the past couple of years. So ton of people know about it. It's already done and over, but nice one to throw on and not have to think too much about.
Is this on HBO Max? I think that's where I saw it.
Yes. HBO Max. That's what that's on. And we're actually talking off pod. We get to see Hugh Laurie coming up in season 4 at some point, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, he's awesome. I of course love Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and Veep is one of those shows, kind of like Silicon Valley for me, where even though I haven't seen it, obviously been a big part of the cultural zeitgeist, and I've seen like a lot of clips from the show. Like I think
Yeah.
Gus played me
See Silicon Valley, Jeff. You'd love Silicon Valley.
I know.
Oh, it's awesome.
I need to get into it. There's just so much shit right now that I want to watch. But another show just like that I know I'd have a blast with.
Yeah.
But
And
now
then Tony Hale, who plays her assistant Buster from Arrested Development, is hilarious.
he pops up in a lot of stuff too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
he
read
does.
the Cowboys on Hard Knocks too.
Ooh, it's coming up.
Oh wow, did not realize that. I'm assuming this is a little off topic, but will HBO Max be carrying Hard Knocks like the day after it airs? Probably, right?
Thing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, maybe even day of.
Yeah. Sweet. All right, Matt. Anything else you've watched?
I'm good.
Cool.
All right, that brings us to the last part of our show, and without Banner here to announce it, I'll just say it's our "Do You Even Lift, Bruh?" segment where we ask a question, such as "Do you even lift, bruh?" And then we leave you guys with it as we discuss it. Feel free to chime in below if you're on YouTube, or tweet at us at Bro4Squad. And today's "Do You Even Lift, Bruh?" segment. Variety reported this past week after interviewing Nick Cage, aka Nicolas Cage, on the red carpet for his new movie Pig, that his in-development limited series at Amazon, adapting the documentary series from last year, Tiger King, has been scrapped. Cage was set to play the eccentric Joe Exotic, with Kate McKinnon, this is my most disappointing part, set to star as rival tiger capture Carol Baskin. So pour one out for what I assumed would have been a very bonkers show. Matt, we'll toss it to you first. Really, two questions. What are your thoughts on the news? And then, do you think this was the right move by Amazon? I thought this was in the can, but apparently for some reason they haven't even started filming it yet. So they just said, let's scrap it. Let's not go forward with this.
I couldn't care less. Even if this was coming out this week, I doubt I would even watch it. It's just so. I mean, that came out at the very beginning of 2020, and we thought that'd be like the craziest thing that happened, and it wasn't. And everyone's just kind of over it now. I don't think anyone really fucking cares. Carol Baskin was on Dancing with the Stars, then you haven't heard anything else about her. And Joe Exotic, I mean, he's not even where they're doing interviews with him in prison. Like, I haven't even heard from the guy. So the ship has sailed. Just let it die. And Nicolas Cage, I never agreed with that casting either.
I know some people were joking around and said they wanted David Spade to play him, which I kind of could have seen as like sort of a Joe Dirt adjacent. Yeah, I told you, Matt, off pod, I was more disappointed in not getting to see Kate McKinnon's take on Carol Baskin, because I think that could have been kind of funny. But I'm afraid this is one of those things, and this is how our cultural attention span is. It's just the reality of it. If it's not going to come out for at least another 8 to 10 months, or maybe even a year, there's just no iron on the fire anymore, right? Like, there's nothing to really get people engaged with it anymore. And you can say that's kind of embarrassing at how short our attention span is, but I mean, that's the world now. We're on to the next. I almost feel like greenlighting this when Tiger King came out was almost too late, especially with it not having been filmed. Nate, what do you think? Are you surprised at all? Disappointed that this show is not happening?
Yeah, I would love to see this. I feel like it would bring a nice change of pace from what Nicolas Cage has done. I know people, like you said, had said David Spade, which I think that would be kind of more of a comedic role. I'm not sure what they were going for in this one. But I feel like Nick Cage would kind of leave it all out there on the floor for this.
He would go nuts. Nick Cage would be like actually buying tigers in real life to prepare for the role.
Yeah, he would be a complete method actor in this one. And I'd love to see him in. I haven't seen him in anything in a while, so that would have been cool.
Again, maybe I'm just out of the loop, but I didn't even I thought this was done filming, and then when Nick Cage said this past week, I was like, "Oh, you guys haven't even started?" And even Nick Cage was kind of like, "Yeah, it's like the time is gone. People don't want to see it anymore." Yeah.
Well, give it some time. It'll come back.
I would have loved to see, though, the on-screen portrayal of Joe Exotic's meth head boyfriend with the 3 teeth.
Yeah.
That guy was-
Moscow Adam Levine or whatever they called him.
Yes, there were plenty of those memes online.
Did either of you guys watch the Joel McHale, I guess for lack of a better term, reunion special with the Tiger King cast where that guy had like dentures put in? He actually has like teeth now.
Yeah.
I was over it then too. I was so over that show after it was fine, but then I was like, I don't get why everyone's so obsessed about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Joel McHale thing was actually pretty funny. I'm surprised like a lot of those people agreed to go on there.
Yeah, because Joel McHale, especially for people of that aptitude, like they don't even realize when he's making fun of them.
Yeah.
Because he's just like on a level of sarcasm that they've never encountered in their lives.
Yeah, that's a good point. How he's playing it, like, oh, he legitimately wants to ask me these questions and cares.
Right. He sounds like he's on your side the whole time, and I'm like, dude, as Admiral Akbar would say, it's a trap.
It's a trap.
All right, before we let the people go for episode 157, closing thoughts, Nate, the American hero Thurman, will go to you first. What do you want to leave the people with?
2021, a little over halfway through now. It's been quite the ride. That's all I have.
Sounds like he's retiring. It's like
It's been a hell of a ride. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
Not even a Bucks fan.
Matt Geiger, how about you?
Yeah, I want off the ride. Please just let me off here. I'll walk the rest of the way.
He's about to throw up. I will say this, guys, our 5-year pod anniversary is coming up in 2 months. Ish.
October.
Aw,
Is it
that's
October?
sweet.
Yeah. And we are going to be unveiling episode by episode our top 100 movies of all time. I am way more excited to see anyone else's than I am to present mine, but just a little tease for our listeners out there. Also, my word of advice every week, if you're in the left turn lane and it has that yellow flashing light, you can turn on that. Don't get overly aggressive, but feel free to keep traffic moving, if no one's coming.
That's good. Traffic tips are always welcomed.
Yeah, I actually got that from Banner. This whole pod has been like a tribute to Banner. I feel like he's dead.
He'll come
He's
roaring back like Jesus.
He's knocking on the devil's door for sure.
All right, for the American hero Nate Thurman and our enforcer Matt Geiger, I am the mayor Jeff Hornacek. We are the Bro Force Squad podcast. We thank you guys for checking us out. Follow us on Twitter at Bro Force Squad. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. If you type in Bro Force Squad as 3 separate words, will pop up on all those places. And check out everything that we do and post on our website, broforcesquad.com. Till next time, we will see you at the theaters. Nate Thurman will be the guy with the large cherry Coke.
Cherry Coke and the large popcorn, please.
Yeah. Say hi to him. He's friendly. He won't bite.
Yeah. Maybe just a little bit. A nibble.
He won't break the
Just a
skin,
nibble.
probably, unless you're really soft skin.
No, don't pull away fast because then that's when I bite down.
Then that's on you, yeah.
Yeah, that's on you. No sudden movements. I get shocked easily.
Even the theater employees like, well, yeah, you shouldn't pull it.
Yeah, I thought you knew.